Hi, welcome back. This is yours truly, the author of the File Soldier series. So let's briefly recap the events of the previous vlog. Now, if you recall, the scene began with John Taylor boarding a Boeing aircraft headed for New York, and now it's indeed at a cruising altitude, but a voice erupts in the cabin. A guy called Herbert Shroud announces that the plane has been hijacked. It's an act of terror. And these bastards have changed the course of the aircraft for Moscow, Russia. But this will not go uncaptured. Not while Mr. Taylor is flying in this. You recall, the protagonist is clairvoyant, and that means he sees things that no one else can. Through his extrasensory perception abilities, he's able to see another aircraft that undertakes maneuvers to blow their plane. Two pilots, that is Nestor and Leonid from Miami Military Air Base, are dispatched to blow this suspect aircraft before it does accomplish such a cruel mission. John sees all this in his subconscious mind. Then he decides to take the bull by its horns. He takes the fight to the hijackers himself. So that now we see him tinkering about with the electrical and electronics computer and trying to mess up with the communication radar. What happens next? Well, folks, this is episode number 5. I wouldn't touch any other dial. So you recall that John Taylor was trying to tinker about with the wires of the electrical and electronics computer so that he could mess up with the communication radar. So I proceed from where I left last time, the previous vlog. A spoonful of honey would catch more flies than a gallon of vinegar. That was easy. So much fun I would have exploded with peculiar identification of hope. Within the perimeters of the electrical bay, I busied myself trying to figure out a shorter route into the Aegean nacelle. But then, for a fact, the firewall wouldn't have been an easy composite to dismantle. Possibilities would make no difference to the wealth or prevailing time crunch as well. I made along the right side wall of the bay. This stretch was the hottest. Here, you'd get fried. I traced cowling number 76. And as I drew deeper into the mayhem, it appeared darker than I had imagined. For that reason, I engaged my spotlight again. 5 minutes elapsed. My wristwatch indicated 5 past midnight. I dawdled away 20 minutes already. Passing my hands about the front and rear bulkhead in double rows, I ventured on a search. At about 7 past 12, my left hand rested upon a little metallic flap at the bottom right corner of the electrical bay. With my right, I reached for the flap, and feeling it for a while, I shifted the spotlight between my teeth again, directing the sharp illumination over. "Got it!" I exclaimed. The little flap went between my thumb and forefinger, and in a circular motion, I twirled it clockwise. Awesome! I drew my penknife, and with it I drove out 3 little screws from the underside of the bulkhead. A tiny hole whose diameter seemed to be double the girth of my index finger appeared. I held the spotlight closer, directing the illumination through it. The heat was unbearable. Patience and time were key ingredients for this success. 20 minutes past midnight, I drove the knife through the tiny orifice, and for about 2 minutes, I beg your pardon, I searched. An expert less informed on the merits of this mission, would shrink at anything that appeared before him. But easy now, easy. This was a thin tungsten wire attached to the bottom side of a spring. I broke the wire and the lights on the electrical and electronics computer went off, followed by a continuous repetitive gong sound. So then I had to hurry. The illumination exposed the following inscriptions on the surface of the bulkhead: tungsten wire release spring, copper nickel 18, zinc 27, 200 degrees Celsius, 690 newtons per millimeter squared. I lowered my spotlight onto the floor. With both hands, I secured the tip of my penknife onto the middle of the spring and pulled it outwards, breaking it off the seats. The repetitive gong sound went off. It went on again, then off. I spun, faced the electrical and electronics computer and waited. The lights didn't go on. Impressive. My first success. So you realize that John has been able to tinker about with the electrical and electronics computer and has managed to mess up with the communication radar. So stay tuned. Up until the next episode. Goodbye.